Miami Hurricanes class of 2025 signing today, including the quarterback of the future.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and writer for Canes County at Rivals. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So we're all checking the updates this morning of, when Miami recruits were signing and making it official. And the very first update that I saw this morning, which I think is appropriate because QB1 has got to have that leadership. Luke Nickel, who's with us now, quarterback at Milton in Georgia. But now, Luke, I can officially call you a Miami Hurricane. How you feeling today?
I feel good. It's been an exciting day so far, something that I've always been waiting for pretty much my whole life. But yeah, I mean, you could really say I'm officially a Miami Hurricane. Really excited about that. I'm excited to get to work there. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I still got a season to finish, right? I mean, we're in the state semifinals this week against a great team, Lee County. So we just got to keep going.
And I love that attitude, man. Keep the main thing the main thing. And I know, of course, you got all the ceremonies and everything signing today, but you're preparing for a really tough opponent this week. But, first and foremost, everyone knows you're a Cane through and through, and you love Miami. Remind us on the timeline, like how long have you been committed to Miami? Because you were one of the first for the class of 2025.
Yes, sir. I committed before my junior year in August.
Dang.
So
well,
it's been a journey, I'm not gonna lie, but it's just something that I felt really confident with. I knew, the future was really bright at Miami, and then just the trust in the coaching staff. I think that's what, ultimately drove me to the spot. And I just, it's hard to pass up Miami. I mean, look at the future that we have, and just look at, the campus, just the vibe that we got there.
And you committed, like you said, even before this season. And so, you're watching Miami's offense throughout the year, and you're seeing Cam Ward putting up just insane numbers, and you're seeing the protection that he's getting, which is going to be your protection pretty soon, and all the playmakers. I mean, what were some of your big takeaways watching Miami's offense this year?
I think you can see the energy that they're playing with, the explosiveness on offense. I knew that's something that they've always had. Having Cam is a big help for sure. Just a great playmaker. He can really extend the plays whenever you need him to. So yeah, I mean, and then him just being that leader for the team. It's been great to have him, and I'm looking forward to, trying to fill in those shoes.
Yeah, and we're talking Cam Ward, but you've worked with another Cam that everyone knows in Cam Newton with your 7-on-7 team. What are some of the things you've learned from the former NFL great?
I mean, tons of stuff. He's really all about knowledge. He's taught me so much. Not everything I know, but a lot of things that I've taken with me was from him. Just a lot of mental stuff too, about how to play quarterback and how to manage yourself playing quarterback, stuff like that. But he's been great. I've played 7-on-7 with him for about 2.5 years now, and it's been so good just learning from him and just trusting what he has to say. And then he's always putting me in the position to go make a play and just go out there and do my thing.
I love it. Yeah. And Luke, of course, we're talking with Luke Nickel. He's had so much success on the 7-on-7 circuit, and obviously a lot of success at Milton High School in Georgia. They won the state championships last season. They're trying to repeat this year. Just so we set the record straight on this, because people are going to be asking about it, Luke, you're going to be enrolling early at Miami, correct?
Sure. I'll be enrolling there in January.
Hey, it's going to be here before you know it, man.
I mean, everyone's been telling me, they're like, yeah, your senior year is going to fly by really quick, but I didn't really, get what they were saying until it really hit me. But it's been a really fun senior year, and I've lived it out every single way that I possibly could. And I can't wait to, keep going with my high school teammates and just pushing for it all.
Do you know who your roommate's going to be yet when you get here?
I think it's going to be Brock Schott.
Nice.
Yeah, me and him.
He seems, yeah.
I think that's where it's leaning towards.
He seems like a great dude as well. 4-star tight end who signed with Miami today. Yeah.
Yeah,
And talk. Yeah. You go ahead. Go ahead.
no, he's a great guy. Just talking with him the past couple months, and then just ever since really he committed. Just great guy. Me and him get along really well, and I think just having me and each other, both offensive guys, will keep us, on task and just making sure we're focused and all that stuff.
That's fantastic. And talk about some of the other guys you're going to be coming in with. And Brock is a good one to start with. But, your expectations on the class of 20 plus guys that you're going to be arriving with at Miami.
Yeah, I mean, we got a great group right now. We got a great group of linemen. I'm really excited about those guys. We really hit it up on the visits. I feel like I get along with them really well. I really enjoy talking to those guys. We got a great group of offense, I would say. It's been for sure a really good class. Great defensive side of the ball too. We've added some really good pieces, and I think the biggest thing is, the bond that we have with each other. We feel really good hanging out with each other, and I just think we have a really good relationship so far, and that's only going to get better.
I love it. We're joined here by Miami Hurricanes quarterback Signee. Luke Nickel is with us. Talk about the relationship you've built with Miami coaches like Shannon Dawson, other members of the offensive staff, and anything you can kind of let the fans know about what style of play they can expect from you when you get to the U.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what made me choose Miami in the first place is the relationship that I have with the coaching staff. I mean, Coach Cristobal is a great guy. He's always going to push me to, you know, get to the top and push me to be better each and every day. Same with Coach Dawson. I feel like his demeanor fits me really well, knows when to push me and then also just, lay off of it a little bit. But I think, just having those guys there for me every step of the way has been awesome. And I mean, just the offense that Coach Dawson brings, I feel like it fits my play style. Me being kind of a pro style quarterback that can also run. A lot of people don't know that, but I do have some sneaky wheels on me. Yeah, it's been a great journey with him. And then I just think my skill set fits Coach Dawson's offense. I mean, just getting the ball to the playmakers.
Talk about the game you got coming up later this week against Lee County, because this is a clash of the Titans, Luke. Because your team, Milton, you're coming off the state championship from last year. You guys are on a 16-game winning streak, and then I find out so is your opponent this week. They've already won 16 straight. Like this is a match. Somebody's has got to go this weekend. What can people expect?
Oh, it's gonna be a great matchup. Two of the best teams in Georgia, I would say. I mean, we're gonna go back and forth with each other, but I just feel like whoever can, come together as a team that night and bring it home. I have full faith in my guys, full trust, full confidence in them. I mean, we've been going at it for a while now, and I just all the times that we spent working out and just in the film room and all that stuff, I think it comes down to that moment. We just got to go out there and execute.
Let's bring home another state title there up in the Peach State. We're joined here by Luke Nickel. Luke, any message you want to send out there to the Canes family? And they're going to be in January. They're going to start to see you out there on Green Tree and hear those practice updates. What message do you want to send to the U fans?
I just want to say go Canes. I appreciate you guys for sticking through us throughout the whole years. Yeah, I mean, the future is bright here for Miami, and it's only going to get better.
I love it. Luke Nickel, thank you so much for taking the time, my friend, and best of luck in preparations for the big game this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Huge thank you and shout out to Luke Nickel for joining us. And I especially appreciate him taking the time, knowing not only did he have his signing and his ceremony today at Milton High School, but he's also preparing for a state semifinal game against a really tough team this weekend. So shout out to Luke Nickel. Shout out to all the new 2025 Canes. We're going to talk to a former Miami Hurricane, a great offensive lineman. Casey McDermott is going to join us next. You guys want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. I'm so glad we can welcome Better Together back to the Locked On family. if you hate the team that you drafted in season-long fantasy, but you want to stay in the action, we introduced Better Together, the first cooperative daily fantasy platform where teamwork triumphs. And you can play with your friends, not against them. Pick more or less in real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboard together. So grab a friend and join the social daily fantasy movement at Better Together. It's a lot of fun. Guys, this really gives you a sense of camaraderie. It enhances the social experience of watching sports. Watch sports with your friends that you play with. Makes you realize that DFS is fun alone, but a lot like other things, it's better with friends. Download Better Together now from the App Store and sign up using promo code Locked On for a free $10 entry into any NCAA football or NFL contest. Play with me in the Locked On College Football Saturday Games contest this Saturday. Remember the code Locked On, because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. By the way, friends, I've been following obviously the last pieces of possible flips, and I watched a very, very long TJ Alford live stream with his high school coach at Vero Beach, talking for 40 minutes, telling everybody's life story, only for TJ Alford to stick with Ohio State and not flip to Miami. At least, with DJ Pickett, we got our suffering ended quickly. We found out pretty much right at 3:00 that DJ Pickett is sticking with LSU. It's been, it's been a dramatic signing day, as we're joined here by former Miami Hurricanes offensive lineman Casey McDermott. Casey, Miami did get a W today with Kellen Wiley, but obviously a couple of the players we wanted to flip, we did not end up with. What's been your takeaway sitting back and kind of keeping up with this whole recruiting process culminating with signing day today?
Thing in the world, especially for the coaches. I mean, they're on the road all the time. It's not easy for the players. I mean, players have many different factors that play into where they want to go, and a lot of it's family decision, some of it's personal decision. So I shout out to all the guys signing their letters today. I know it's not national letter of intent anymore, and it's financial aid package, but shout out to all those guys. Congratulations to everybody, especially the ones who became Miami Hurricanes today. We're welcoming you to the brotherhood. Happy to have you. We're just, guys have to make a decision, and it's tough, especially when you're 15, starting usually at 15, going up to 18 years old. I mean, that's not an easy choice of where you're going to go to school. And I think Mario's done a good job of trying to hold this class together despite some negative effects that the end of the season may have.
What do you remember from your national signing day?
Mine was smooth. I already knew I had committed in the spring of 14 that I was going to go to Miami. So I was a lifelong Cane. There was no other choice. I may have dabbled in interest in other schools, but no, I was always going to be Miami Hurricane. So I do remember we wanted to be the first ones. So I woke up very early and signed it and sent it in. And I remember Al calling me and congratulating me and thanking me for being the first one and kind of trying to lead the class, kind of lead the charge and being that first one. I mean, sometimes that drags momentum with you throughout the day.
Well, it's cool you said that, because we just chatted with Luke Nickel, and Luke was the first one this morning, Casey. He was the very first one to get his paperwork sent into Miami. So he's first in 2025. Casey McDermott was the first back in 2014. Now, obviously, losing out on some recruiting battles, winning some, losing some, that's not the most difficult thing we've had to deal with so far this week, because we're watching the college football playoff reveal last night, and all this debate has been raging on Alabama and their 10-3 resume, SEC bias, Bama bias. I'm happy for Kalen DeBoer that he gets to enjoy that Nick Saban, what Nick Saban built. He gets to enjoy that bias to this day. And Bama comes in at 11, which is where Miami really needed to be. Miami comes in at 12, but that's not factoring in the Big 12 champion that's going to jump into the fold. So it's looking like Miami is going to be out. It's looking that way. So I'll ask you, before you give me your theory on how things could change, first, give me your reaction. And were you surprised that Bama got the nod over Miami?
I was surprised. I will say I was surprised. I thought Miami's resume was a lot better. We beat an SEC opponent at home. Our two losses were by a combined 9 points on the road to two good teams. Georgia Tech has that 7-4 record. I mean, they took Georgia to 8 overtimes. They competed in every game that they played in. Then on top of that, Syracuse, who could and should have been ranked when we played them. Um, Obviously, losing a game when you're up 21-0 is not good. It's not a good look. It just doesn't seem like Alabama had enough juice to squeeze outside of that Georgia win. And even in that Georgia win, they almost blew a humongous lead. I mean, I remember watching that game and thinking at halftime, like, I'm going to turn this thing off and just go to bed. And my buddy, who's a Georgia fan, I woke up the next morning, saw his text, and it was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, they had that game and a comeback. And then to go on a road and lose to Vanderbilt, like, that doesn't make any sense. And then to go on the road and then lose a very ugly loss to a very bad Oklahoma team. It just didn't make sense to me. If anyone would have jumped us, I would have thought it would have been South Carolina, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because
it's funny
South Carolina doesn't have the bad
South
loss.
Carolina is also falling victim to the Bama bias.
Yeah. I mean, they just don't have the bad losses. Their losses are all close. They got hosed against LSU on that bad call on the interception return for a touchdown. They got they lost to Alabama by 2 at Alabama. It's just, to me, if I was looking at it and I wanted to guarantee an SEC fourth team in, I would have done South Carolina over Alabama, because Alabama they're not the same Alabama.
Something I've been thinking about today, and I didn't say this in my immediate reaction episode last night because I'm still formulating my thoughts, and I know some people are just going to say, "Oh, you're bitter, you're grasping at straws." But something we know, KC, is that the SEC and the Big Ten, those are the quote unquote Power 2 conferences. They formed an alliance. They've had meetings behind the scenes. They've used as leverage in the past, trying to get better terms from the playoff committee. They have used the idea that, hey, we don't need, or you guys don't, or sorry, you guys need us more than we need you. And we can go, if you don't give us favorable terms, we're going to go and do our own playoff. And so it's like, I don't know. Part of me thinks that's something swirling through the committee's mind, that if there's, something we feel is very close, we've got to lean towards the SEC or the Big Ten so we keep them happy.
I agree. If you go look at who's in charge of the college football playoff, it's ESPN. Who's ESPN's biggest TV contract with? The SEC.
SEC.
You got to think there's a little bit of politic in play into it. And I think Mario did a great job yesterday explaining on ESPN why Miami should be in. And this needs to be about football and not politics. We need to stop looking at things from a money revenue standpoint and to look at it from the pure win standpoint. We won 10 games. It is not easy to win 10 games in college football. I know that better than anybody because I've been on multiple teams at Miami that should have won 10 games, and we always fell short. So, and my brother too. I mean, that 2013 Miami Hurricane team very easily could have won a national championship if 5 or 6 things went different ways in certain games. So, it's so hard to win 10 games. I don't care what conference you're in. So in my opinion, I think the removal of sides in conferences, so like the Coastal and the Atlantic, kind of plays into how this is not helping. Same thing for all the ACC or SEC and the Big Ten. It's not really defining who should be playing in these conference championships. Although, I mean, part of me also kind of likes, hey, it's the 2 best teams, But at the end of the day, I do believe we still have a chance. It's not completely over. I know what Ward Manuel said last night. What I think is more important to focus on is the fact that he said that the top 25 can change. He didn't just say, oh, those. I know he said that we don't have any data points for those 3, talking about Miami, South Carolina, and Alabama, to change. But he did say there is a chance the top 25, depending on what happens in these championship games could be adjusted. So I still believe there's a slight chance. A lot of things on Saturday need to go in our favor. I actually believe it starts on Friday. I think if Boise loses that Mountain West, everyone keeps saying UNLV is going to get in. I think Army will get in, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
see
It'll
that.
be a one-loss team versus
Yeah.
if they win the American. They have to win the American first. But then if Georgia loses to Texas, they become a 3-loss SEC team. You're not going to punish them because they made it to the conference title game. But now you're talking about adding a second, third loss SEC team into the playoff. So I think that would push Alabama out and us back in, along with SMU winning the ACC championship, along with Penn State losing the Big Ten. If Penn State loses the Big Ten, I have a feeling they will slide to 9 or 10. Because you look at their season, look at the games they played. I think put us on their schedule, we would have a much better record than they do.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I just think Miami's still not out of it. I think there's a slight chance. We need help from the other conferences, which sucks. We had the power in our hand to fix it, to finish the season strong. We didn't do it. It's unfortunate. And I will gripe a little bit about some of the fans and what we're saying on social media. It's not good for our program to be actively out there on socials where players can see it, players' families can see it, coaching staff, coaching families, along with recruits. Today's National Signing Day. If you don't think some of these recruits were looking at what you guys were saying on social media and going, why would I want to go play for a team whose fans just quit on them after they won 10 games? You know, there's one fan account in particular who's, I'm done. I'm not donating NIL. I'm not donating any money. I'm not redoing my my season tickets. I'm done. I'm done with this program. It's like, but I'm a Cane for life. No, you're not.
No, you're
Canes
not.
for life. Canes for life. Stick with this team no matter what. I don't care how emotionally upset you are with the fact that we won 10 games in a season.
Yeah, I'm you're preaching, Casey, and something that and people may not even fully grasp what you're saying, but I can't tell you how many parents that I've spoken to and heard from, whether it be current players, parents of high school players who are like interested in Miami. They pay attention, like they pay attention to all of our shows. And by the way, shout out to all the parents who are watching Locked On Canes right now. We know we love you, and I'm happy for all the parents out there because they love to watch their kids play on Saturdays. But yeah, they pay attention to this stuff, man. The athletes pay attention. The parents certainly do. So it's one of those things. It's like, even to kind of take it on a tangent, I always try to remember that when I'm talking about players, I'm talking about somebody's son. Like I'm talking about somebody's son, somebody's brother, somebody's nephew. So I try to look at it through that lens. But I want to get some thoughts here from KC when we come back about the season in review. It was a 10-2 season. Obviously, Miami falls short 2 of the final 3 games. So you want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. We're not done with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, get ready to tackle the NFL action on FanDuel, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more right on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Again, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. It's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Got former Miami Hurricanes great Casey McDermott with us. All right, so Casey, it's about the journey. If I told most people, hey, 10-2, that's going to be your season, a lot of Miami fans would have signed up for it. But when you win 10 games, you wish you won 11. You win 11, you wish you won 12, and obviously they had everything in front of them in that Syracuse game, and we couldn't hold on to a 21-point lead. So I totally get the disappointment. I'm disappointed as well. But I mean, can you zoom out? What are you going to remember this Miami Hurricanes season for the most?
Oh, I'm gonna remember Cam Ward, that's for sure. The blessing that we had to have him. Um, this offensive line was a special one. Jalen Rivers is going to go on and have a great NFL career. Um, I'm happy that Markel Bell got the playing time he got and got the experience that he got because he's going to be a great starter for us next year. Um, Wide receivers, I mean, Restrepo, the career that he had, not just the season, the career that he had here at Miami was nothing short of spectacular. Um, the leadership he brought to the team, the hard work he brought to the team. I can only hope that it sticks with this team moving forward and everyone remembers, hey, just because you're not, a five-star receiver coming out of college, coming out of high school, doesn't mean that you can't set records here. It's all about the hard work, and he embodied what I call a true king. It's all about the work. He didn't make it about flash. He didn't make it about all this stuff, and I feel so horrible for him because of what happened on Saturday with the fumble, and that kind of changed the whole game. But he's someone I always remember from this team. The defense, we could talk about how bad they played down the stretch and all that stuff, but people to remember, we had pretty bad injuries to some top tier guys. And we also had guys playing with injury that were not disclosed. So there's parity there. There's people need to understand that this is not a game where we're out there and every Saturday we're 100%. And losing a handful of guys throughout the season could be the difference between having a successful defense and not having a successful one. So that's something I think the defense overall for the season played pretty good. It could have done better in the last month or so. Injuries played into that. Undisclosed injuries played into that. So
I could tell your son in the background is very upset that the college football playoff didn't give Miami a top 11 spot. But man, I appreciate KC for you being on this journey with all the fans, and you're a part of a still a relatively new, really good podcast built on Green Tree. Let people know where they can find that.
you guys can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. We're doing really good. Numbers are good. We would like some more subscribers. So if you guys could like and subscribe, that'd be great. We will be dropping a new episode tomorrow as we film tonight, reviewing the Syracuse loss and the college football rankings. From a player's standpoint, we'll talk about why Miami lost that game and what could have changed. And we'll talk a little bit about National Signing Day and how the future looks for this program. Definitely want to tune into that. Me, Rod Mack, and Chad Wilson, along with Josh Darrow, give you a breakdown from a former player's perspective and an online radio reporter.
And that perspective is why I highly recommend Built on Green Tree. And these are all great people involved, KC included. So you want to check that out. So check out Built on Green Tree. Also, I'm going to be doing a new episode tonight of Locked On ACC with Kenton Gibbs, and I'm going full tinfoil hat tonight, KC. I'm gonna talk about what the committee decided to do with Bama and Miami. So we're gonna have that for you guys as well. Locked On ACC is available wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you guys so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. Thanks to KC, and check him out on Built on Green Tree. Thanks to Luke Nickel. Check him out on Green Tree in January. He's enrolling early, and we'll talk to everyone again tomorrow on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.